Hello again. Chris Lee and Chase Robinson of Southeastern 16 here to preview and predict Mississippi State's road trip to Arizona State. You can catch that at 9:30 Central or not if you got DirecTV. Um, last week, Arizona State, a really impressive 48-7 win over Wyoming. The Sun Devils starting year 2 under Coach Kenny Dillingham, who took over a tough situation. Jeff Levy also took over a tough situation. His debut came last week. Mississippi State beat Eastern Kentucky pretty decisively, 56-7. This week, BetOnline has got Arizona State a 6.5-point favorite and over-under of 57. That implies a predicted final score of Arizona State 32, Mississippi State 25. We'll tell you whether we agree or disagree with that in just a minute as we break down this game. But first, Chase Robinson, tell folks who sponsors our content.
Yeah, that's BetOnline, the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? You can get in on a $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game's over, you can go to the online casino, get in on a game of blackjack or poker or one of the over 150 slots games. So head over to their website today, Bet Online. The game starts here.
All right, let's talk about Arizona State's offense against Mississippi State's defense. And to put a little context in Arizona State, I thought that win over Wyoming was really impressive.
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of Wyoming football over the years by virtue of having a nephew who played there. Now, he's been gone a couple of years, but Craig Bohl always built his programs on solid defense, sent a lot of guys to the NFL. And so that's kind of how that program is wired. So when I saw Arizona State do what it did, 499 yards of total offense. You had Michigan State transfer Sam Leavitt throwing for 258. You had Cam, I guess it's Skattelbo, who was a preseason 4th-team all Big 12 pick by Phil Steele. He didn't have a great game, 11 for 49 on a touchdown. They've got 4 offensive line transfers from the FBS, so I think probably had something to do with that last week. And they ran the ball really well. 49 attempts for 241 yards as a team. I think Arizona State was impressive in week 1. And Mississippi State, I'm still not really sure what that defense is because, A, who it played last week, and B, so many guys who either transferred or backups playing bigger roles that it's hard to really get a grasp on what the Bulldogs have got there.
Yeah, and I want to one note I read about Arizona State as we were getting ready to do this video. They lost 51 starts on the offensive line from last year, and so they've really had to rebuild that unit. But just as I was watching some highlights and things from their game last week, it doesn't look like that. I mean, I think they've done the necessary things to kind of rebuild that unit, that offensive front, but apparently there's a lot of new guys, and so I think that's something to watch. Is can Mississippi State exploit that? You know, can the Bulldogs defensive front kind of be able to get in the backfield to get through some of these offensive linemen, these new offensive linemen? So that was a really interesting note. That's a lot of starts to lose off of an offensive line, off one unit, but they did look good last week. But still, that may be something that Mississippi State can look to exploit.
Yeah, State's just got so many names. That one got out of hand so quickly last week. And look, there's some parts on that defense I like. You know, that they do have, for instance, the defensive back transfer, Montre Miller from West Virginia. Really like that guy. They got Stone Blanton, who led South Carolina in tackles, or not led them, but was one of the leading tackles last year. I think there were some injuries and some absences on the defensive line last week. Really interested to see what that looks like. Now, I think the other side of the matchup is really fascinating because Jeff Levy is just an offensive guru. We talked about how much we loved what they did with their room of transfers at quarterback and wide receiver. But you got Arizona State, I thought was really good last week. 118 yards allowed, did not allow a point until 2 seconds left in the game. Had a pick six just, I think, the first minute in the game, another interception later in the game. It's going to be a much bigger challenge for Jeff Lebby, Blake Shapen, and company this week in Tempe.
It is. I still think that Mississippi State is going to score a lot of points this season. It's just, can they stop the other team? Because again, and we kind of knew this going into it. Jeff Lebby likes to move the ball. He likes to work quick. Last week against Eastern Kentucky, Mississippi State ran over 2.8 plays per minute, which was one of the fastest in the country. Like, they're moving. It's quick. And so will they be able to do this against Arizona State? I'm curious. Will they be able to move at the speed they want to? I think is something I'm going to be watching, because that's what a lot of the offense hangs on. Let's get the ball, let's move it quick, and let's make the defense not even be able to think about what they're doing. And I think Blake Shapen is in a position where he can is good at leading this Jeff Lebby offense. He fits it well, and he seemed in control of the game against Eastern Kentucky. But again, you got to look at the opponent. Eastern Kentucky was 15-20 passing, 247 yards, 3 touchdowns in that big win. And so, can he keep that up? Can they keep that offensive momentum of moving the ball as fast as they did against Eastern Kentucky? If they do, I think they're going to be able to score a lot of points. If they're able to do that consistently all throughout the year, I think we're going to be looking at a different Mississippi State team than what we expect. But will they be able to do that? Do they have the talent to do that on all these defenses, including Arizona State that they're facing? That's what I'm waiting to see. But if speed helps, if you move the ball that fast, that's going to help you a lot. You're going to be able to score a lot of points in a short amount of time. And so if they can consistently do that, it'll make things much more interesting.
Well, one thing that helped Mississippi State last week, the defense, although it's still a little bit of mystery, did play a lot of guys last week. And so that's something you're going to need going into the heat out there. I know State's got plenty of heat and humidity in Starkville, but it gets murderously hot out in the desert.
Yes.
So you got that. But in terms of picks, Chase, still kind of need to see what more State is. I think Dillingham is year 2. He's got a year under his belt. Sometimes the second year of a rebuild is when things start to pop. Lebby had a lot to take over. And again, I love what he did, but you got a couple things going against you. I think you got the road trip out there. You've got the late start. Body clocks are going to be off. Now, State can win this game.
Yeah.
But, the model I've got is got it closer. It's got Arizona State by 3.5, where Vegas has got it 6.5. I just feel like I still need to know a little bit more about what State is. Arizona State seems like a safe pick here. That's what I'm going for. But State could win it. Wouldn't shock me at all. And I don't think it's going to be a blowout either way.
If this was in Starkville, I think my tune would be a little different. But I agree with you. That's a long road trip. I've been to Arizona in late August, early September, and it is brutally hot. It's tough, and so I think that's going to make things interesting for Arizona just to travel, or excuse me, for Mississippi State just to travel out there and the conditions and everything. I'm going to go Arizona State, but I'm like you. It wouldn't surprise me if Mississippi State won. There's just there's a lot still I need to see from Mississippi State at this point to be able to pick them in a game like this.
Yeah. We'll take the Sun Devils, but we could be wrong. Hey, if we're wrong, Mississippi State fans, let us know about it after the game. Although I don't think we're going to be broadcasting it at 1 a.m, but we will recap the game later at some point, maybe Monday morning. Best way to get all our stuff, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. That helps our analytics. Tell a friend. And if you're interested in advertising, we reach millions of people a year between our football, baseball, and basketball content in the SEC. And we do cover all of them year round. Reach out to caroline.smith@southeastern14.com. Yes, we're 16 now, but that'll get there. And learn how you can reach SEC fans. Anyway, for Chase Robinson, I'm Chris Lee. We are Southeastern 16, presented by BetOnline.